Hi, everybody. This is Jo Ferry. I know there are 3 attendees and 1 panelist, which I guess is me. So I am waiting for Christophe Laudamiel. I think we'll get lots of people now that we're going live at 6:30 our time and a little bit earlier in New York where Christophe is based. So yeah, there's more people coming. Oh, okay, so I can see your names now. That's great. Hello, Aitana Lopez de Carrion, Doc Z, Elodie, Kath, the Sheep Lover. Well, wherever you are, Sheep Lover, I'm with you there. Valerie, and hopefully Christophe will be coming along any minute now. As some of you may know, we tried to do this on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and the technology failed us. We've discovered that when we go live in the evening New York time, it can be a bit of a problem because there are just so many people online at the same time, which was really frustrating because we were hoping to have an explosive discussion to celebrate Bastille Day, as Christophe is obviously a Frenchman based in New York, but it was not to be. So we rescheduled it, and now I am just checking that Christophe hasn't sent me a message to say that he's late or anything. Hopefully he will be here any moment now. I hope that some of you may have submitted some questions here. I am hoping that we might be able to get to some of those questions as well. Let me just see if I'll switch on chat so that if you do have messages and questions at the end, we'll try to get to you then. I'm sitting here veiled in Strangelove Melt My Heart, which is one of the Strangelove fragrances and one of Christophe's many creations. He's obviously created several for Strangelove, which he's a partner in the company, and we completely love them at the Perfume Society. We actually sell the discovery set on our website, and it's been amazingly successful. Now, where are you, Christophe? I'm glad the connection is superb, Elena, because it really wasn't last time. But as I say, I'm just waiting for this genius to join us tonight. I had a little email exchange with him not very long ago, so I'm going to just email him now and say, is that him? Ah, there you are! Hooray! You're connecting. You've connected to audio.
Hello?
You need to turn your phone around. Hello?
Huh?
You need to turn your phone around. You're like...
Okay. That's okay. I didn't know which side is best. This way?
Yeah, perfect. Great.
Okay. Wait, I have a phone stand. 1 second. Okay.
We're very glad that you're here. Voila, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Oh, here we go. It's going to work this time. Thank you very much for doing this. We've got lots of people coming on, so we're very pleased to see you. And I was just telling them that I'm covered in Melt My Heart from Strangelove, just to kind of get the mood going. And we're going to try and get you to answer some of those questions from last time, and also some of the questions perhaps that people put in. So if we just start with, did you ever have a plan to become anything other than a perfumer?
So at every given time, I only want to be one thing. But first, till I was about 7, I wanted to be a chef. And then from 7 till 17, I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a vet. And then from 17 till 24, I wanted to be in chemistry.
Okay.
So, and I studied chemistry. I wanted to be maybe forensic science or things like that. So, voilà. And then I got into flavor chemistry, and I saw that taste and everything was very interesting, and that led into perfumery.
Okay. And which obviously chemistry is incredibly important for perfumery. And do you still create flavors or just perfumes now?
No. So I collaborate regularly with chefs or with flavorists, or I use or I see some flavor formulas, or if you find some online, it's easier to find flavor formulas online, or analysis from fruits, for instance. So I'm very familiar with this, some of the ingredients. A lot of the ingredients are the same, by the way, and they overlap totally. Even patchouli, sandalwood you can use in flavors, and a lot of molecules. And but the dosages are very different. So you have to know how to adapt a formula. But no, I don't. It's a different responsibility. Plus, the application is different. So if you want to do an ice cream, it's different from soup, different from. So that also impacts a lot. And
voila. So do you ever cook with them yourself? I'm curious to know. If you wanted to be a chef, do you ever cook?
I have. So here's the reality. I know very well how to cook. And I've cooked a lot, but through the past 10 years, I haven't cooked. No, no, it's not true. I cooked till about 5 years ago in Berlin. So about 5 years, I did not cook. Well, so that's the story. But I know how to go around a kitchen. Yes.
Okay. Is that because you live in New York and you never have to cook in New York?
No, it's here.
Okay, mental thing.
Yeah, I don't. It's. Yeah, personal, but I don't want to cook at the moment. Let's say to cook and people and no.
So you had your chemistry degree.
However, what I will say for everybody that is listening and what I do, so this all the time, I do trials in the kitchen. So this, whether in the kitchen or at work, like at the coffee break and stuff, this I do constantly. And that means just starting by comparing coffees, starting by, I have a kettle now that shows the temperature.
Yeah, me
so
too.
One day I do the coffee at 95, another day at 80, another day at 70. You don't have to think any experiment. This I do constantly. I compare things. I buy 2 kinds of mangoes. I buy 2 kinds of whatever. I try to put a drop of perfume in my matcha and see what happens. You know, perfume is not toxic. So a lot of different experiments. So this I do a lot. I mix spices with raw egg or whatever. This I experience a lot on punctual basis every day, and you learn a lot, whether it's to eat or to how to buy things, how to pick things, and also for perfumery, it's very, very inspiring. You see combinations you didn't think they would work. Yeah. But also personally, you know, and for tea is the same. Do a matcha or do a green tea or do a black tea, do whatever. And you do it one day at 70 degrees, another day at 80 degrees, and another day at 90 degrees. You're going to see, you're going to be bluffed. And you'll be like, what? I've done my tea with boiling water my whole life and I didn't see all this variation. Yeah. I know, but it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. It's like, it's fabulous.
Yeah, no, my best friend has a tea company and she gave me a kettle with the different temperatures and it really makes a difference. It's quite clever.
Yeah.
So just to cover a little bit of your early journey, you decided after the chemistry degree to become a perfumer. So where, for everybody who doesn't know, where did you train?
So I did the Procter & Gamble Perfumery School after my master's degree in chemistry. Now, I think something interesting to mention here is more to say that to become a perfumer, you don't have to be a chemist. So let's put that one to rest. Yes, so I would say if you're a musician, you don't have to know electronics or physics or, you know, all this, you don't have to be a sound engineer to be a musician. But if you're also a sound engineer, you can start doing some other effects, okay? or you can have some different kinds of collaborations. If you know nothing about electronics, then you do other kinds of collaborations. At the end, if you do things, the point is to do things. So it's exactly the same in perfumery. The very, very, very basic things in chemistry that you need to know, which I cannot even think of any, but there are a few things, like common language.
Yeah.
This, on the job. And maybe like a frequency of the la in music. You don't have to go to engineering school to know that. So it's the same in perfumery. And the point is to get excellent students and to have students that are very curious, experiment, see different styles. This is very important. Now, if you know a lot of chemistry, you're going to do some other kinds of things as well. So it's, if you know very well chemistry, it opens some other doors, but it's totally not necessary. So that some people can feel comfortable. If you cannot go into that school or that school that requires chemistry, there is still plenty you can do in perfumery and plenty of excellent things you can do in perfumery.
And in fact, some of the feedback that I've had from perfumers over the last few weeks is that actually the schools have become so technical, and actually perfumery is a very creative sphere, and there's too much of an emphasis on the technical side and not enough about the dreaming, about the art, all of the kind of creative side of it. Do you agree with that?
So I would put a little bemol. I would say half of it is totally true. Half of it, there are a few other issues with the schools, with the current schools. And the other half, if there's a third half, I should be fair. So let's say 1/3 is very well taught, and you find things in schools that it would take you 3 years and you get them in 6 months in those schools. That's everywhere the same. But the perfumery schools are not at the level of a chemistry school, of the conservatory, the music conservatory in Paris, or any really high-level art school or high-level science school. They are nowhere near this, neither in the way they recruit people, the way they teach, there are many reasons for that. There's not even a school for the teachers of perfumery. So if you teach chemistry, you go to the teaching of the teachers. Yeah. So in fact, we discuss all this, since I can do a little advertising here. The British Society of Perfumer will do a panel discussion in September, and one of the themes is going to be the different styles of teaching perfumery and the different styles of current schools and what we should do in the schools.
Very interesting.
It's very important. It's very, very important. And so the last thing I will say to everybody, when there's a question in perfumery, just ask yourself that question in music, in architecture, in cooking, in anything else that you know much more. The same is true for perfumery. We only have a few differences. We have to deal with ingredients, which is a nightmare of the perfumer, 1,000 notes. The musician, it's no big deal to have his notes in front of him or her. But otherwise, the creative process, the schooling, the education, the mentorship, all that, it's just the same, and then you just have to work. That's it.
So we had well, actually I have one observation to make there about the link. We often talk about the link between perfume and music, but I was just thinking about the fact that in music they don't ban certain musical notes, whereas a perfumer sometimes has things removed from his repertoire. So that was just.
So this is one aspect, which is the matter. I don't like the word materialistic. The matter aspect of perfumery, music, and colors, visual design, even movies, for the most part, is only physics, and by waves. So the material, the fact that we are a material science or material art, brings some fascinations and brings some drama. Now, the good thing about the banning of ingredients, I have to say it's very rare, the banning. The restriction is more common. The banning is very rare. in my opinion, it means the ingredients are really, really, really have issues. And so there are maybe 26 banned ingredients so far in IFRA. I've never learned them, and except the masoya. But I'm thinking if they're really banned, bon, you know, we can do without it. That's how I would go about that. The restriction, we can talk about that, but maybe a different, more scientific talk. Some of it a challenge, and some of it that's okay. We should have them, and that's also why we can grow as Perfumery. Because in Perfumery, the one thing we have in common with architecture is safety, which they don't have in music, they don't have in painting, they don't have in movies. But we have safety, just like architects.
Yeah,
and so
it's a very good point. One of the questions we always get for every perfumer is, how do I get started in Perfumery? So what is your advice for somebody who wants to get started in Perfumery?
So every day, first of all, smell everything. So every day you smell everything, anything stupid or anything elaborate. When you go to the market, anything you do, there is smell. So you use your nose as much as your eyes. Then you should see me in a flower market. You should see me, and there are some days you pose. You don't have to be like the slave to Perfumery, but notice things. And then, as I say, do a lot of comparisons. A lot of comparisons. And it starts with the milk. When you cannot drink coffee yet, it starts with buying different apples. So don't buy 10 apples of the same thing. You buy two, and two, and two, etc., etc. Then you can do your little experiments. And then also just read. You have to start reading. Now, it's different from 10 years ago. There's quite some quality reading online in books about Perfumery. Get a registration at Name Magazine and at Perfumers and Flavorists that you have to do, or get your parents to buy them for you. And it's not expensive. So, voilà. That's the thing already before you can get into a training program.
That's a start. And also I would say the Scented Letter, our magazine, which you can buy. You can.
Yes, I saw that today. Yeah. That sounds cool, actually.
We have an international subscription for just £20 with 6 issues a year. So that's my little ad, anyway.
But that's where you put? No, I saw the ad because it was the le Prix du Jasmin, or the whatever you call it, maybe in England. And so that means when you report about those, same that the articles are good quality, because there is good quality online now to be found, or in books. But there's still a lot of crap, and it's really hard for people to sort. So you have to make sure the source of the place. I would avoid the popular magazines, that's for sure. And you don't even know why the fragrance is in there. And then what is told about the fragrance is very, 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 very superficial, and at times is not true. So but like anything, you should avoid the popular press. No, but it's true. And then the fashion press is not there. It's there for fashion. It's not. So look for perfume press. That's correct. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And well edited. You know, it's the problem. I think
it's a job. No, it's true. And they don't learn it at journalist school. So this is also that. You see very good journalists in any other field, and then when they write about perfumery, it's kind of like. But they don't learn it at journalist school. So
it's, right. Like being a perfumer, it's an art. To turn smell into words is not the easiest thing in the world. Not everybody can do it. In the same way that we can't do what perfumers do, which is carry thousands of smells in our head. So I want to know from you.
It's like a poem. I think. Poems, I use that a lot, is you write a poem. So we don't write a book with one perfume. It's not enough stories. But we have words. We have many, many words, which are the ingredients. And like you say, from the words, we turn them into a poem. It's exactly that. So you can put two words together. Everybody can do that. And everybody can write a poem and say, I'm a poet. And then you can see the difference if you're an expert poet, you or a professional poet or a good poet, you have to be professional. You know how to do this. And then when you're a journalist writing about poetry, you can also see how it can turn into something really bland and terrible. Or it's also an art or a skill to write about poetry. So it's see, I get the goosebumps because it's exactly that. And the issues that we have, or the cool things that we have, are exactly the same that they have in poetry.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now, you so I want to know, with all these smells you carry in your head, maybe 3,000 different smells that a perfumer has to learn, do you put words to them yourself, or do you put images? When you're trying to remember all these different things, how do you register them in your head?
You know what? It's a good question. No one has ever asked me this. And you know what comes to my mind? I never learn them. I describe them when I smell them, and I write the description right away in my tables, so that I can forget about the description, and what I remember is a pattern, is an impression. And now I'm not thinking about it. When I think of, you can tell me any ingredient, what comes to my mind is an impression. It's totally not a description. And I think in certain school, actually, some students, they come up with the description first before getting the overall feeling. And so then you can see when they create, they create like a Rubik's Cube. That doesn't work. And so, no, me, it's true, actually. I've never noticed that, but I smell, and I can polish even the impression now in my mind and ask me facets. And some things I don't even have words, so I will have my own way to then describe it. And it's true. I have an imprint. Voilà. I learned them by an imprint, and then each time I try to re-describe that imprint when I mention it to someone. Like if you say even any common ingredient, first I'm going to see the ingredients. It's funny, huh? I'm going to see the volume. It's not really a picture, it's an imprint. Very interesting, actually. I need to talk with scientists about that, because we learn more and more about how we smell, actually.
Yes. I mean, it amazes me that so little is still known about smelling. So you've had this amazing...
So, by the way, there's going to be an article that's going to come out in Nature magazine.
Okay.
And I'm one of the authors, and it's going to be about how we smell and what we think could be some of the primary, let's say 100 primary smells we need to describe other smells. And now it might be more than 100 at the end, but it already starts to see how many keys you need on the piano, how many cartridges you need in the printer to create all the smells that we know. Well, it's more than 100 at the end, but this article explores why there's something around 100. And by the way, when we smell any complex fine fragrance you have, you can see 4 to 7 facets at one given time. After an hour it evaporates, you can see some other facets. But the nose, it's not that you can see 20 facets like this. No, the nose doesn't smell like that. So that's also fascinating to know.
When is that article coming out, Christophe?
I don't know. It just got approved 2 weeks ago. I was announced. I mean, this is really crazy. I had one in chemical senses about the coronavirus and the sense of smell. That was approved 2 months ago. And we've just submitted another one about the COVID-19 and the sense of smell. But that one is research of the past 3 years. And so it takes another 2-3 months, I think, by the time they tell you are accepted now.
Make sure you let us know, and we will tell everybody to go out and buy a copy of Nature magazine. You've had this amazing broad career, from creating fragrances for Tommy Hilfiger right through to the kind of niche or independent fragrances that you work on. Is it different? Is it the same? Doesn't matter whether you're working for a very exclusive small brand or a huge brand. What's different each time?
What's different for me is the amount of people in the room to make decisions. That's the key.
Okay.
So that's one key difference. And the other key difference, independently from how many people in the room to make the decision, is the main designer of that brand in the room as well? Or mainly, is he or she very much involved in the creative process almost every stage?
Yeah.
So, so these are the two key factors that make a big difference, because the rest, it can be this way, that way, da, da, da. But how many people in the room? Because that means a lot of stuff that you have to do is useless, I have to tell you. And also many times it shaves, it's more filters. Voila. So it's more filters. So
Yeah.
it means creativity, originality is shaven. Each time you have a person, you have a filter.
Yeah. Yeah,
and most of the times the filters are not complementary. Some people are going to laugh on the line here, but they are not complementary. So you get like this. Right? So voila. And then yes, that's the. And then also when you have to create with many perfumers, so very few times it's very organic. Well, two perfumers is, I would say, it's kind of natural, easy. Even in chemistry, you'll have to have a pal in the laboratory. Sometimes you want to be alone, leave me alone. Sometimes you really want to try your own thing, and sometimes you really love to work with a binôme or with a colleague and all sorts of stuff, creating and trying. So a pair is a kind of okay. When it starts to be three and more, there are some other requirements that are not because of the expertise. And then I would say half the time the team is not organic, but the perfumers are actually usually cool people and not too difficult. So it works well, but it's not really what is going to increase the expertise or the creativity, even though they are all experts. So that's also a factor. Voilà. Now the rest you can, the rest is different. Now the other thing too is that when you work with a large project, you have to be more polite. When you work with a smaller client, because it's smaller, or because the client is big, like I did, like we fragrance all the Fairmont hotels in the world. So that would be a small team, but it's a big project.
Yeah.
So the reaction, you can be very direct, you have to, so you have to be polite but very direct. When you have a lot of people, it's more like you have to, dancing around the pot, and or if someone is nasty, you cannot really say it, or sometimes you make them feel it. But if someone is not okay in a small team, it goes out right away. Right?
Yeah.
And then usually we arrange ourselves so the person understands. So that's also, you're more direct in small teams.
Tell us how Strange Love happened, and how it is working with Elizabeth and Helena Christensen on Strange Love, and what the three of you do. Because this is a beautiful, fascinating brand, and in fact, one of the questions we want to know what you got.
What happens at Strange Love stays at Strange Love. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. So that's a typical example of a small team. So Nene, this is cool. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
No, we want to know, a question from one of the viewers is, which perfume is it around your neck today? Your necklace.
No, because me, I wear, I know perfume have no genders, but I'm not really a floral guy.
But that's a Strange Love. That's a Strange Love creation.
Well, that's Strange Love. So the one, I could be wearing, this one is Silence the Sea, which I love. I love them all, and it's not tacky to say, because it's really a piece of work and everything for all of them, like a piece of jewelry. Yeah. But if people want to know what I wear, it's different from what I like, obviously. And so me, I'm more a Silence the Sea person and a Fall into Stars person for the way it smells. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a dreamy guy, but the way Fall into Stars smells and everything. And this is Silence the Sea, the little the little thing. Yeah.
Very beautiful. But so how does it work with the three of you? at Strange Love?
So it's interesting. So the number one, Elizabeth pushes the button. We need a new scent. One day she wakes up, she says, Christophe, you know, we have to start thinking of a new scent. All right. So then what happens is the three of us truly, we meet, usually in 1 or 2 meetings. We decide, but we communicate a little bit by text and stuff, like really informally. And I know also that Elizabeth does a lot of research. We communicate, we have a meeting, and about what the theme is going to be. So one, it was, okay, let's do a big bouquet of flowers. That was the Lost in Flowers. So we knew from the beginning we wanted a big bouquet of flowers. And then, sorry, I don't watch at the camera when I speak. It's not that there's someone, I just cannot speak looking at myself. That's impossible for me. I cannot think. So that's why you see me, but I'm thinking as I'm talking.
Yeah.
So we meet, we decide on the theme, even certain approaches, because of course, number one, it has to be around oud, but how oud could be used, and but also what kind of element to make it quite special. And some things come just because we like them. So Elena would talk about sage, and thinking how it could work in, I think sage is in Lost in Flowers, actually, I think there's some sage. And then, so things like that, just because we feel, I don't know, it's like a fashion designer. Me, I'm the same. Don't ask me every time why I'm thinking that could be cool. And then Elizabeth does a lot of research, then online, not just online, her friend and everything, but a lot of research, because to see what other elements. So for instance, she read a lot about champaka. So then I get a message saying out of the blue, Christophe, what do you think about champaka? And I'm like, so then I add what I know about it. And I say, so if you think champaka could be cool for the concept or for the legend or what you read about the smell of it, then I say, okay, so what I know in the ingredients, the red champaka is much better, the way it smells, etc. And actually, I do know where to get it, because in each fragrance, we have some ingredients that are not in the common perfumers catalog. So of the largest corporations, but also of the small corporations, the large doesn't mean the catalog is smaller, but it's not in the standard or even extra standard perfumery catalog. So each time we have some ingredients that we have to go and source. So this I know quite well where to find things, and then you have to check the quality, you have to check the smell, and then you have to see if it goes in the fragrance. And so then we have so I try some combinations, I try my own ideas, some other ingredients, and then we meet again, and then we smell together, and then we see what's cool, what's not cool, voila. And then it's more towards the end that Helena, that's always been Helena, not Elena, Helena finds the title. Okay. So that's really, I don't know why, that's really her specialty. Okay. And each time I love what she suggests. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. With the 3 words,
Yes. So they have that system now. But so that's her. And Dead of Night, Silence the Sea. I think it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And to be clear, Helena is not the face of the fragrance, first of all. No, so she's a photographer. Sometimes you see her, but it's totally not that. She's really the artistic director. I would say we are all 3 creative directors. Yeah. And Helena is more artistic director with the name and then the pictures and then but that's what it is.
And unusually for a fragrance, you have oils as well as eau de parfum. What are the kind of technical challenges of creating something that is consistent as an oil and as an eau de parfum?
So the oil is the nightmare, to tell the truth. The oil is because that sounds cool, and Helena is hot on oils, and a lot of other people, especially in the higher atmospheres, or the people that are also in some or in spiritual places, or in certain religion, or I don't know. There's this magic about oil. For me, as a perfumer, it's not my thing. And as to apply, but once in a while it's kind of cool, but it's too, you have to put here, everywhere, and then your hands are full of oils and or whatever. And then in terms of technique, it's like the nightmare. It's like when they ask you to make the candle out of something, people have no idea. So the oil, it flattens things.
Yeah.
It's not true that it makes things longer lasting. I don't know who invented that. And I want someone to tell me, and I'm sure 10 people are going to write me, but I can guarantee you it's not true. So tell me what oil, and we would know by now, you put in a fragrance, it makes it longer lasting. That's big BS. By the way, it's the same with oud. Oh, oud makes everything long lasting and it lasts forever. No. So we would know, and it would be easy to create for Strangelove and for many other brands, that if that would be the case. Oud alone does not make it. I'm sorry. And in fact, a lot of oud that people buy is full of patchouli, full of acetophenone, full of yara yara, full of stuff that we know stay very long on skin. So just to debunk a few things and to show the difficulty. And the oil is, it's flat, it's oily. So I take the formula, I have to adapt it. Like you take something for the piano, you adapt it for the guitar or for the drums or whatever, where you have less notes that come out well. And so it's some work. It's some work, the oil.
Yeah. No, I thought you were going to say that actually. Because
very good.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Because somebody
great minds think alike. Yeah, we did not plan the talk. We were supposed at 1 p.m., but I was doing something else. So just to say, we are like chit-chatting along. Great minds thinking alike.
Great minds thinking alike. Well, some perfumers often say that when they have to make a body lotion, it's the same thing. It just sucks the life out of the fragrance.
That's one thing. So my take, body lotions are easier than body oils, than fragrance oils. Voilà. So that the body lotion, I would not say it's a nightmare. Now, what we have to know for body lotion is that the levels often are like 0.5. Well, some they were at 0.1 because they're cheap, but it's like 0.5. You can have one at 1%. But whereas perfume oil, you can be at 10, 20, 30% if you want to. You could be at 30% in a body lotion, but then it's not really a body lotion, it's a fragrance lotion. No, it's like, and for your information, till IFRA 49, which I need to check now, but the restriction is not the same if you do in an oil for your skin or if you do a spray, same for your skin. Huh? Don't ask me all the reasons and blah, blah, blah. And so the body oil, you need to bump it up, but at the same time, the safety takes it to bring it down. So it's, well, whatever.
Okay.
It's a mess. Voilà.
We've referenced music. Do you listen to music while you work?
I would say 1/3 of the time, yes. 1/3 of the time, no. And 1/3 of the time, I would love to, but I don't even think of putting, I'm a weird thing. So I don't even think of putting the music on. But see, like this morning, I would say, oh, yeah, I didn't put the music on. And voilà. So it depends, the mood, it depends. Sometimes when the music is loud, then for some things I need to bring it down or I switch it off. But I'm quite cool with that. I love when the assistants or junior perfumer puts the music, the techno and stuff. I love all that. So I love that too. Yeah.
Where are you speaking to us from now? What is your...
New York.
Yeah, what room are you in?
That's my office, if you wish. You want me to take you to the lab?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, yes.
So first, you have to see this. You see? You see the...
Okay.
Wait, what do you
a lot
see
of
here?
construction. Yeah.
No, you see here, the Empire State, it's right here in my window.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's from my desk.
Okay.
And then I'm lucky, I have to say I'm lucky with this, and they built a big building and they stopped it right where we could still see the Empire State. And so in the lab, that's the lab at the moment.
Okay.
So, but since it's here, we have to talk 2 minutes about that, but this is what I've posted in my lab. Can you read?
Yeah.
Letter from Birmingham J by Martin Luther King.
Okay.
So that's right now hanging in the lab. And then, so this is Bamori. the new our new lab assistant. So this is London and the world, voila. So he's brand new. He studied forensic science, and now is the fragrance lab. So he has a few, apart from ambergris, which is forensic whale, he doesn't know anything. So voila. So this is the lab. You see bottles. So these are all only ingredients here. What you see? Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
These are only ingredients, and then we have plenty in the fridges as well.
Okay.
And I want to mention the fridge because, so like if people don't know, for instance, if you take, voila, so this is a full box of jasmines here, a full box of lemons here. Huh?
Wow.
So when people say lemon, already it'd be like which lemon, which part of the lemon, which, or etc.
Yeah.
So what I want to mention with the fridge, because people don't are not used to that, we're going to come out for the zoo. The new fragrance is called Smile and Shine, and it has to be kept refrigerated if you really want to keep the zesty citrus notes fresh all the time.
Wow.
And these notes are not possible to have in commercial perfumery because they do tests that kill those notes. Wow. So I wanted to say why these are notes that we see every day in perfumery. The fresh mandarin or the fresh lemon, the Smile and Shine is full of lime and lemon and grapefruit and blood orange. And we know if we leave them out for like 2 weeks on the counter, it goes a bit like this. It's still orange, it's still lime, but it's not the same like when it comes fresh and you keep it in the fridge. It's very different. And so I say this fragrance, I tell people, keep it refrigerated. So it stays on the bottle.
Okay. Yeah. That's so interesting. I want to know if you went into that lab and you could only say that, God forbid there was a fire in the building and you could only save one ingredient, what would you save?
No, I don't know. I would go like this. I would go I would take a few, some here, just a few, and then I would say, bon, you know what, whatever. But no, of course I would grab a few.
So you don't have a favorite ingredient?
No. I have quite a few that I love, but no, it's like,
tell us
it's more than saying I like all my notes on the piano. No, because they really have personalities, and I really use them all, and I mean all.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I select between lemons. Yeah, so these are very strict. I select between things, but and then there are some that I love. I don't know why, but otherwise I like working with them all. Yeah,
tell us some that you love.
I love cardamom. I love bergamot. I love saffron. I love, and then in molecules, there are quite a few I love. I love amion, hexalon. I love trifernal. I love floralozone. I love. I'm still fascinated by isogamma super. Whatever you want, this is quite fascinating. I love all the Damasco. No, not all, but I love alpha, beta. Yeah, but it makes things cheap, I find. But Damascenon total, I like more than Damascenon. I don't know.
A lot of things. And have you not also invented molecules? You have invented scent molecules yourself?
And then there are a few, like I love patchouli also, sorry, and I should say, and there are a few that I find, for me, they are no big deal, like vetiver. So I really love the smell of vetiver, but it's not like I'm saying that's the revolution in perfumery. You see, so I also have those things where a few things, I don't find them so. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Nonenol, which is the melon note. I love those notes.
I was going to say, you have, I think, invented some scent molecules yourself. Is that right?
So what I invented, I invented combinations. So I invented some Schiff's bases that were not used in perfumery, and I invented some Michael's bases. So Schiff's bases is some kind of chemistry. Michael's bases are another kind of chemistry, and that was to make certain molecules longer lasting on fabric.
Okay.
So that's when I was at Procter & Gamble. Yeah. Well, you look at my patents or whatever?
Yes. No, I'm not looking at your patents. I'm just impressed that you can invent something like that. That's all.
Yeah, people are fascinated by molecules. Huh? When you say you work with molecules, people are like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I think one of your favorite projects for me was the fragrances you created to go with the film Perfume. Would they ever be reissued, do you think? I mean,
I hope. So there are no projects whatsoever, but one thing I'm going to say, this is now published since June. You can see online, we have an application. So this is with 3 other scientists, 1, 2, 3. So you have 2 other scientists that publish also in Science, in Nature, like really top scientists in olfaction in New York, one from Columbia, one from NYU. That patent is also another inventor, is an engineeress, a lady, an engineeress from Columbia University. And now we have an MBA from Columbia to market it. But the patent is about a new technology to play scent with VR, with AR and VR. And this is a tiny device you can put on your head. There is no wire to go anywhere. And does not contaminate, extremely precise, that can play scent as you're watching a movie or as you're doing a video game. And if you know, video games are extremely rapid with smells that can be very gentle to very brutal. And so the device cannot contaminate at all. And the device between the smells and the device you don't want when you play your VR, that the person next to you smells what you smell. Plus and so we are in the process of showing this and things. So for this, I did the soundtrack, of course, of the movie Perfume. And for me, in the future, we will have scent in the movie theater. So I'm really, with whatever technology, it could be a mass technology or individual technology, but we know much, much more about spraying things in the air, or diffusing things in the air, thanks to COVID as well. And then COVID did a lot of good things for the sense of smell. So it's terrible we all have people that passed away in our entourage or family or friends. So this, I have to say, was terrible on that point of view. On the other point of view, just like a war, it creates an unprecedented technological and scientific development.
Yeah.
And because it justifies that people work a lot day and night with budgets that no one cares where the money is from or how it's spent, or let's say it unblocks some budgets. And olfaction is the number one, the loss of sense of smell is the number one symptom of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so that's propulsed olfaction in the air, no pun intended. And so, here I'm saying, I don't know when, because I was thinking already 10 years ago. That's why I created Dream Air. That's why I did the Saint Opera, the Guggenheim. But investors and technologists and marketers, they are still not on the olfactory planet. But it's progressing much more already. So we will see. And I think they are deposited. The scent track is officially deposited at the Osmothèque. And so I show them regularly in presentations, because I also represent the Osmothèque. Yeah. So officially, and the Osmothèque can get them, the laboratories IFF that has the formula and the ingredients. They are deposited at IFF, if you wish, and at the Osmothèque. So the IFF recreates them regularly when the Osmothèque needs them,
So we keep our fingers crossed. Is there another movie that you would like to create the scent score for?
The Matrix.
The Matrix. Why?
Because, first of all, it's unexpected and it's very modern. Now everybody knows it, but it's still fascinating. It's a movie that people know. So because to put the sense of smell, I think is cool. to put a movie that people know and are already comfortable with all the other stimuli of the movie so that they can see how the smell can change the dimension of it. And then there are enough scenes where you will say, oh my God, what is he going to play here? What is he going to do? Or what you see, people don't even know the types of smells we can do in the laboratory. They only smell at Sephora, and so that doesn't work.
Yeah, fascinating. So what do you, COVID has changed a lot. It has put the sense of smell center stage. But for you as a perfumer, how has it changed what you do? You know, we've heard that some projects have been cancelled, some projects have been postponed. The number of modifications has been reduced because of the logistics of getting things to people, etc. What's the difference for you working post-COVID?
Well, we're not post-COVID. We are right deep down in the mess of it. That's still just to tell
post the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, but voila. So the first thing that came to my mind, even before you said that, is timings are different, and so they are more in accordion. So for me, it's actually better. And so sometimes they want it quicker, but I don't mind. I like when you're in the rush of things, and which means also less filters, less thinking and thinking and thinking, and less mods or less bon. I have to say, with Dream Air, so Dream Air is 10 years this year. With Dream Air, the cool things, but that's also the way I work and the way I can work and the way I'm organized and the expertise you have. It's like working with a big musician. There are some things that are different. So I have to say, the number of mods has never been my problem at Dream Air. That's the problem when you have big teams where half of the people in them are like this. I have to say, this is the truth, and everybody agrees, no one says it. So that's the story. And so then you do a lot of things that, so for me, it's not really, I don't sit on the number of mods with my projects, but I see, first of all, I still have as many projects as before. There was a kind of a little stop, 2, 3 months, 4 months, but I saw as of June, the things restarting.
Yeah.
And we restarted with the Asian projects.
Okay.
And the other thing is, so the timings are, people are getting rid of the stuff that was not essential at all. That was perfect. I think it's in any area. Do we need one more meeting? Do we need one more travel? Oh, but Christophe, we have to talk face to face. We have to smell face to face. And, many times you don't need that. And, what you said. So this is one thing. Another thing, I think, is, and I hope, I see a little bit the premise, but I'm not sure yet. But the other thing is because the stores are becoming even more a destination. We knew that from before. So there was already a discussion, closing stores, and the ones that remain should be a destination. Now it's even clearer. So I think it has evacuated a lot of stupid shopping, I have to say. And but shopping will remain because you still, like in Disney World, when you go to a store. And I think the sense of smell is going to play a bigger role, plus the science that came. People, when they lose their sense of smell for 2 weeks, they're like, holy cow, this was scary, Christophe. I was so scared, and I realized how it was important to smell, and then to smell anything. I'm sure you've heard that too.
Yeah.
So people now, so I think we are going to see this in store, but I don't have the proof. But for sure, it's true that the projects, I think, are faster to market.
Yeah.
And we are going to see more creativity because less filter means, in the large perfume, in the large, what we call, I don't like the term commercial, because even in niche, people want to do commerce. I'm sorry, buy Strange Love, buy the Zoo, please, we're here. But in the large scale perfumery, a lot of signature fragrances. So I can name some to you. I don't know the latest, but when everybody talks about Acqua di Gio, Enjoy, even Pleasures, key things, Cool Water at their time, but even closer to us, it was each time the team like Acquadigio, it was when the team at L'Oreal had they needed a quick fragrance for summer, summer water, cologne, and they did not go through the whole filter. They didn't go through the whole, so someone took that, that's cool. No one said, oh, it's too floral, it's too feminine, it's too, all this you would hear. And so, Angel is because he was Mugler, Verachroubi, the creator, finito. Happy, he was Remat, with, you know how he works, it's like really close to the Perfumer, clack, clack. So there was Happy, Pleasures. So I don't know exactly the story, but I know very well that Estée Lauder was not testing, and even now it's not like a testing company as much, at least for their big brands, and so it allows things. So Polo Blue, it was not the whole machinery of L'Oreal. It was Ralph Lauren New York, exclusively the New York team, which was 2 persons, the project manager, Jennifer, and the head of L'Oreal fragrance, period. So it was clack, clack, clack. It allows some things that are creative. And so with COVID-19, it's going to be the same, and then they don't dare, it's true. When some perfumers I know, they have to wait for 2 weeks to get their modifications because the lab has a COVID-19 emergency or they work half time. 2 weeks when it was 2 hours before.
Yeah.
And so I think it's cool because perfumers know how to create. They don't need 300 mods.
Or 5,000 sometimes. I mean, some of those big fragrances, 5,000 modifications. I don't know how.
This is disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about before we finish is your activism. So it's like Perfumery as activism. You've got that.
So how much time do we have so that I select 1 or 2 themes in there?
I think we can go a little bit longer because we have hopefully a little bit longer because we have we paid for our Zoom account, so we should have a little bit of extra time, not just 1 hour. But you have that poster, the Martin Luther King poster in the lab, and you use Perfumery as a tool or you use the platform it gives you for activism. Has that always been something you wanted to do, you felt compelled to do?
So I don't see myself so much as an activist, but I can tell you already at school, I was the spokesperson of the class. I've been the spokesperson of the class already at high school, already at engineering school. I wouldn't say activism, but in action for sure. And it can be to defend perfumery, it can be to defend chemistry, it can be or to defend someone in the class. I remember at school when a teacher was banging on a person in the class who was not very good in the class, so it's even easier for the teacher to bang on that person. It's true, the person, I don't know why, but the way it was done was totally disgusting. And so I went in, in front of the whole class, I went in there, defend the person, and was really like this with the teacher. And so, I don't know, I really have this thing, when I see, it has to be something big. So when I post something, it means there's a big story behind. So when you saw, I come back on the Black cause. But when you saw I posted about some things with the France Foundation, for instance, or with Next for Autism, this lack of ethics and the lack of transparency, so that means there's a big thing in there, and everybody knows. Everybody knows. So that's also a consequence of COVID-19, I would say. Not I would say, I'm sure, because we were locked up. The brain goes anyway. You cannot go anywhere, but the brain goes. So you were like days and days. It's not that I sat down, okay, I'm going to think of the Black cause today. I'm going to think about the industry. So the industry, I've been analyzing and said things in conferences in the industry forever. So this already in 2000, my conferences at Antwerp School of Fashion, my conferences at Royal College of Art with IFF. I guarantee you the students were not the same after the conference, and they could see how I've done like more than 150 of conferences, and people understand how to see perfumery. And I think that's one reason, modestly, I think, that bloggers know much more about perfumes, and now they defend perfumes, they defend molecules. And I can tell you, I've taught to a lot of people the reality of things. So I've always But I'm not an anarchist. I am pro-corporation and I'm pro-police, but a good police. I am anti-dictator. I am democratic. It doesn't matter Democrat or Republicans. People can argue in their political systems, but I am certainly democratic, anti-racism and all that stuff. And already at school, I was with the black culture a lot in Boston. A lot. I was amateur tap dancer. I did a lot of dancing and swing dancing and all the kind of stuff at ragtime.
We didn't know that.
Oh, look, my tap dance degree from Northeast England with, look, you haven't seen this, you see.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
With honors, you can see here maybe. Yes. So I'm a certified, well, I'm amateur, but no, and then, I don't know, I've been raised in the tropics. My mother would help immigrants all the time because they could not speak French. And but I suffered also from fight. I cannot fight physically. So anyway, I can go on and on. So then I was with COVID-19 already. I was writing even more. You saw I wrote the manifesto that was before this thing because I want to move the things. I wrote to Leonard Laudamiel here to try to give him ideas of what we could do in perfumery to expand what we do. And so this I've always the fire is always there. With COVID-19, things build up, but also my theory got polished. And then came the black fighting. And so for me, it was exactly as okay, what we have to do for the black cause. So I embraced that right away and I'm helping. I went to help the protesters here. I was quite a few things and sponsoring that and bringing supplies and so on. I can go on and on. And so then it gave me more energy in perfumery to do things. I said, you know what, all these people that are in perfumery, they're just at home. What do they do? And also me, I was like, you know what, this is the moment we have to break all these walls and things. So that's when I started to write much more strongly. It started also that I saw some people in the fragrance industry that were not writing very nicely about the black cause or ignoring some things or not shutting up in their Instagram, the racists that were writing comments in their Instagram. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Etc. So that gave me this flame and now it's there even more. And to the point, I'm not finished with this. So I'm not finished. So you will see more things to clean some gross behavior or gross functioning in the fragrance industry. It's not the whole industry, in certain parts, very isolated parts that I know well, and I know something there is totally not right. The awards of the France Foundation, I guarantee you, it won't be, I've already pushed one button. If it's not changed, people will hear about them before September 4th. It is unacceptable, the awards we've had for 30 years, the way they are given, and now everybody has time to revisit them, to rejudge the fragrances properly, to erase conflict of interest. It's a disgrace of the industry. Yes, I got the awards, I did not say anything, now it's enough. We cannot be riding on this hot air. It's disgusting. I'm even violent on myself that I didn't say it before. And I pass on all the stories I've heard, how people are judging the awards, and some I know for sure. It's not just I've heard, I know.
And
can you imagine voting for fragrances you don't even smell? Well, I can go on and on, but you know, because you are in the industry in London, and I'm sure there are also some gross behavior, plus the conflict of interest, plus who we help in the industry versus helping poor kids to come to fragrance schools.
Which of course is something that you're involved in, is
yes,
people into perfumery who would not have the chance. And this is what has to happen, because it is not an inclusive industry at the moment. I mean, I don't know if you see in the cohort, the incoming cohort, whether there is a better representation of, you know, the population, but you know, it has been a very, you know, white.
There are two issues there, and that's so one is the way the schools recruit is very much linked to the industry. It's and it's not the fault of the industry. It's the university system that has not created olfactory department like they have a music department or a science department. because the university recruits very differently from, so what I've seen in the past 10 years is that from very French and a bit Latino, because there was business in Latin America, then now we see that the perfumery schools recruit a lot in Asia. So this is now well established. What is not well established is people of color.
Yeah.
So people of color, meaning the black people. Let's be frank, it's not about Latino a little bit or the black people, or in Africa. Do you know one perfumery school in Africa? Do you know one? I mean, there's nothing. So, and in America, the black cause goes even beyond, like, I don't know if people know, but slavery is allowed constitutionally in prisons in America. And so people in prisons are used as slaves in prison. So I just want to say, I want to tell you that in the 60s, you had a game at the fun fair. People have to know, and I'm so violent because the French Foundation was so disgraceful when this happened. It was terrible. And in the 60s, some people at the French Foundation, they were 20 years old, probably, if not 25. So they've known that. Maybe they even went to this fair, maybe not. And their parents probably died in concentration camps. It's an holocaust, what the black people say. In the 60s, you had black people that were paid to be in a fun fair, to have their head like this, and they were shot with baseball bats. When you hit the head of the person, or when you hit the belly of the baby, and the baby would vomit, you would win. Do you know that? Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Voilà. So when people say, oh, it's not an Holocaust. By the way, Holocaust is a term. You have some black people that turn Jewish because they feel very strong with the Jewish people. Yeah. And now you have some other Jewish people that are not moving an inch from their Palm Beach mansions, and they try to post something that is disgusting. I can go on and on. It's terrible. And it is an Holocaust. And when I don't see people stopping what they're doing to solve it now, because it's true, I did not know this letter for Birmingham jail. And you know what? People in America don't read it at school. I ask people, I did not know. I went to the copy store, the black girl there, she said, oh my God, this is so cool you're doing this. I've never read that letter, so I'm sorry, but I read the thing that you wanted me to copy. I said, please. So just to say, we did not know. It was the whole system. So now it's out. It cannot be like this. And it is an Holocaust. Sorry, I went off, but this is like really, it's really bad. And that's not going to stay like this.
No, well, I mean, I hope that because of COVID, all the rules have changed. We realize that life is short and we have to do the things that we really believe in, because there's no time. We realize now how precious time is and how we can use it to the best of our abilities. But we thank you for your activism or your action, but also for your very, very beautiful perfumes.
And I didn't say activism. I didn't say activism in perfumery. So just 1 minute, I'll mention one that I'm going to go on is when you are in an expert field, usually we say remove the middle person. So the public can do something. In perfumery, there are many middle people. So people should buy, whether from fragrance houses that have a perfumer inside. If you buy from a fashion house, if you buy from Gucci, Gucci has a designer inside. And it's a different quality, a different credibility. And so check where the perfumer is. Is there a perfumer inside? Or also don't buy all from the same groups. So in fact, it sounds like some brands, like for instance, Armani, Margiela, and Yves Saint Laurent, they all come from different brands, but no, they all come from the same group. So it is the same package. And it's a middle package. It's not, so people should discern more. It's a bit complicated in perfumery, but people should discern more and they should inquire more what is inside that perfume. So it's not about divulging the formula, but ask the brands to see, just like they do now in fashion, they divulge where they source the cotton, ask them to see how much jasmine you have in there. If you buy lobster and truffle, when the dish arrives, if the lobster is just surimi, you're like, what is that? You're fooled. Or if there's just a tiny bit of lobster and it costs an arm and a leg, you're fooled. So it's the same in perfumery. The problem, you don't see it. So the brands now have to say, for just 1 or 2 ingredients, okay, we are not fooling you. There's 2, 3, 5% pure jasmine. Bon, Ifra doesn't like that, but there is jonquille. We have 4% jonquille in the Fall Into Stars. It's not bluff, I can tell you. And if you know the price of jonquille, it's not bluff.
I know.
So people have to require.
Yeah.
And if the brand doesn't say, oh, the formula is secret, it means it's dodgy. Because if it's really true, there's at least some real stuff checkable. It has to be checkable. Hein? Voilà. So this is one thing I want to say, that people have to be much more activist in perfumery, even when they buy, and boycott, and also say, you know what, this brand, they don't even respect this, or they, voilà. So, and ask who has a perfumer in-house. This is a key thing. Just like in fashion, you know. Voilà, this we have to start. And then I can have some other ones another moment. Sorry.
And obviously the other issue on the agenda now is sustainability. You know, we both in terms of packaging, both in terms of ingredients, sourcing, etc. So you would like all of us to be more demanding of perfume companies to take those issues on board?
No, so let me be clear here. So this is very good question. Sustainability is a jewel of the fragrance industry. So another notch I'm going to say is that when I see the Fragrance Foundation looking for fashion designers to come, or fashion journalists to come to Perfumery to tell us how to deal with the black cause, it's gross, because the fashion has big problems with sustainability and how they deal with the populations in India and Vietnam where they make those garments. So whereas the fragrance industry, I tried to think about that during COVID. I think with some local farmers, but otherwise the fragrance industry for me is the industry that is the most sustainable on the planet.
Yeah.
And in fact, the industry, which is not the brand, that's the problem. The sustainable stuff comes from the ingredient sourcer and the farmers. And this you can ask all of them, from the biggest one, Perfumery, Givaudan, to the tiniest ones. You can ask all of them. They will show you where it's coming from. We are truly helping the farmers. And yes, I'm a perfumer, I'm biased, go and check. The doors are open, it's all online. And now even the chemicals, the molecules, they show how they have in New Jersey whole parking lots full of solar panels to make the electricity, to make those ingredients, to make the perfume. So in fact, in sustainability, we are so cool, people don't know. But what people have to do is not to check whether the patchouli is sustainable. It is. I don't know any unsustainable patchouli, otherwise no one would make it, or the rivers would stink of patchouli, we would know. But they have to ask the brand, oh, you have patchouli from Indonesia, but how much do you have in there? I want to know. I'm paying lobster price. I want to see how much patchouli you have in there. Van Cleef & Arpels, you have a lot of jasmine. I'm paying Van Cleef & Arpels price. I want to see how much jasmine is in there, and the real jasmine, and how much Indonesian. Molecular sandalwood, I like it too, but I know it's not the same price. So don't ask me to pay lobster price if you give me this. So, and then there's also the creation that's important, but a lot of these fragrances are not so creative. So if it's not so creative, fine, show me this sandalwood you're talking about, how much you have. Oh, it's secret. No. It's secret, the lobster? No. The truffle is secret? No. So, voila. No, we have to stop this now. Yeah. And I'm sure the French houses are going to love me, and maybe a few won't like it, but we have to, this everywhere we say cut the middleman and the middlewoman, by the way, but cut the middleman to get the expertise, to get the ingredients, and to remove hot air. So that's the story. We want to know, we go to the source, find out, and already when they have a perfumer in-house, then whether it's a niche brand or Chanel as perfumers in-house, usually you get already more stuff, but still ask what you're getting and ask the reality.
Okay, we are going to do this. We are going to thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Everything you make, and all your ideas, and all of your beliefs, and all of your...
You know how far I go with Strange Love NYC? I show the fragrance with and without jonquille. In the zoo, I show with and without narcisse.
Yes.
No one shows Chanel No. 5 with and without the rose, so that people see. It's for education, and it's to show what it brings. A lot of fragrances you do with and without the rose. Well, not Chanel, but you will see, you don't see any difference, because it's a lot of BS. So, voila, this has to be said, and now it has to be lived and done. The public has a role, and now the public is educated enough. And thank you for the Perfume Society to organize all this, because we have to explain all this so that people understand they have a role also for the good cause.
Yep. Well, thank you. you can
Thank you, Anjo, for the invitation.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Really fun. We got there. We did it in the end. It took 2 goes, but we got there. But
thank
you
you
very much. Mwah. And
you.
everybody, we will be putting this on our website next week. And please share with everybody and get all the people that you think would be fascinated by this, equally fascinated by this, to watch. So thank you from the Perfume Society. Thank you to all of you who joined. And merci Christophe et
thank you.
bonne
Merci.
journée.
Merci everyone. Merci. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.